All right. We are live. Welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. Let's see if I can get all that muted and all ready to go. But welcome. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Let's see who we have here. So Fred gave us the warning that he'll be in and out. Asso's here. Rimmer is here. Let's see. I saw somebody else. Yes, John from Holland. Welcome. Welcome to Rapid Fire. This is where I answer your burning questions. Basically, it's my open forum stream where I answer questions and deal with people. And it's my way of kind of dealing with comments, alleviate some of my guilt that I have to pass by comments in the comments section without addressing them. Hey, Iron, good to see you. So that's kind of my thing. I also kind of, it keeps me on my toes, keeps my brain sharp, I guess, to answer people's questions. Plus, the chat is usually a great source of entertainment for everybody, including myself. So we have that. A couple things going on. Just a reminder that there is a poll right now of the four finalists of the image challenge for the channel. I'm getting a lot of feedback, though, that a lot of these different things can be used for different things instead of just different, like emojis and stuff like that. So some of them are suited for Merc and some of them are not suited. So there's that. I don't know. I've learned that interaction keeps my brain from getting too stagnant. Okay, so it's just kind of that way. I appreciate the comment though. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't know if what color, I mean, I don't see any ladies in the chat tonight, so maybe they'll come alive later. But they could they could they could definitely tell me what color I should wear. So there's that. But make sure you vote in the poll. Also, you'll probably notice there's a goal for this one from a super chat point of view. That's kind of an announcement. I'm only going to Saturday stream if I reach one of the goals during the week. And the reason I'm doing that is I've got to make streaming a little bit more financially viable. So if I reach a goal on Tuesday or Thursday, I'll have a Saturday stream. Otherwise, where I'll do a live reaction to a video. It's mostly because I've just been looking at my analytics and I've spent a lot of time streaming and it doesn't gender me a lot of cash. And part of my goal, as always, with this channel is to make a little money. It's a side hustle for me. So I have to justify my time and how much I think I'm worth. And so, sometimes, being myself, not always good and all that. So just keep that in mind. Saturdays, I enjoy Saturday streaming. So there's that. But at the same time, it's like, I could be working on a video instead. So, just help me out as always. Let's see who else we got. We got Michael. Thank you. Oh, Lisa. Good to see you, Lisa. It's been a while. Somebody said that I could keep on my toes, Lisa, if I wore high heels, and I just want to know what color I should wear. Maybe you can help me out there. I'm not sure. But there's that. Let's see. There's a couple questions I don't think I addressed in the comments this week, and get us rolling that way. Lyrics here too. Outstanding. A little bit late. Black is always a safe choice, Eric. Okay, fair enough. I've never wore heels before, so to stay on my toes. I prefer live streaming, I guess. So there's that. All right. Actually, the vid I released Monday, how to become a hero of faith by being a lying prostitute, talking about Rahab, actually did much better than most biblical study ones do. When I drop a video, depending on the title, it can get a lot of views. Like the one I dropped about why presuppositional apologetics is a victory for atheists. I think I got up. It's got to 8K views, so which is really good for me. I've noticed a lot of other YouTubers that came in the last year have passed me as far as subscriber count and stuff like that, and it's because they do a lot more content than I do. YouTube tends to push people who do more content or who have a large subscriber base, and I right now I'm kind of low end on both of those, so I've got to do better. But it's the only time you chant when I know that's a concern of mine, Fred, but also, I've got to make this streaming thing work from a financial point of view. So yeah, it's like that. So I did see that video. So there's that. All right. So yeah, see, now I've debated with myself. Okay, do I put a dollar amount on this or do I put a thing on it? But Lisa has already said yes. I love the streams, so I will make that decision every time based on how much I get on the weekly streams, because I'm not going to do ad revenue. People, you are watching this video, and every stream will be ad free. Okay, I don't want to. They don't give me shit. And YouTube doesn't give me shit for streaming anyway. So, and it's more of a I need some love for my time. So, yeah. But thanks, Fred. It's I've debated: do I put up a dollar amount or do I put up just a straight 5 out of 5 goal, or do I conditionally say, okay, whatever I make on the streams during the week will determine whether I do a Saturday stream. But I've had to do what I got to do. But the question about my videos is still very valid. Like when I do a video and I really put some thought on it and have some time to do it, it does very, very well. Okay. And, ad revenue does really well on a video. So it's a financial decision in large part. And I hate making those because I'm entertained and I have fun on Saturdays too. Some of the stuff has been hilarious and just enjoyable for me. So thank you to Lisa. Appreciate you with your donation. That's very generous. Thank you. But I have to kind of look at things that way anymore with this channel, and it also forces me to consider what we're doing a little bit more, and I'm kind of thankful for that. All right. See, thanks, Fred. I absolutely appreciate that. Okay. I know that that's kind of your stream to show up and make a nuisance out of yourself, but hopefully we'll keep it alive. I think probably what I'll do is if I get 5 donations out of both streams, I'll probably do that. It won't necessarily mean I meet the goal for an individual stream, but if I can get about 5 donations at a good level, then it justifies me getting on Saturday, and I'll set a goal for Saturday too. So, yeah, I know, shocking. Yeah, I like to eat. Yeah, you like to eat. I do like to eat. So there's that. Yeah, the angry guy too. Yeah, he's there. He's around too. I love Azo. Azo has been with me since I started doing this a little bit more full time. So, but thanks. Yeah, I know that. And that's the thing. When I do videos, I can do that. I can really hit the topics. Streams have a tendency to be organic. And what that means for me is sometimes we go down rabbit holes. It's hard to do that, with a, with a stream sometimes is to stay on a topic. I can do it if I do a live reaction to a video or I deal with stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm headed. Yes, I'm human too. Burning question, Eric. Welcome, Eric. I haven't seen much talk about Ezekiel 37. Seems to me okay. Let's see. Allow me to refresh my memory. Ezekiel was always one of those books that I either avoided. Oh yeah, the Valley of Dry Bones. Okay, all right. Now I know what you're talking about. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get a lot of airplay. I guess it is one of those passages that seems kind of weird. I almost used it for my Halloween special, as I recall. Where I was doing the weird and macabre and very Halloween-like stories of the Bible. So, um, so there's that. That's that aspect of it. So, but it also was a lot of fun in the sense of it's prophecy, and it's always really weird. Yeah, yeah, it is. It is a. You bring up the most valid point about Ezekiel 37 is that the Messiah uh, is supposed to be somebody who actually rules the land of Jacob, not a metaphorical spiritual Messiah like Christians make him out to be. And so, yeah, that's the other problem with Ezekiel. He's clearly on shrooms most of the time. So yeah, you gotta watch that. So the only way to do that I know of, Rimmer, is to do like Discord. And me and Discord have a lot of arguments. That's why I have Bren run the one for this channel. It's my official, unofficial Discord if you want to hang out and chat afterwards, but I am not there. Okay. So, and I prefer to like do a stream with discussions. I do premieres mostly because it gets an initial attention surge of the video. And then after that, but I have also just dropped videos before without a premiere. Um, Premieres really happen if I have the time to do them. So, um, but yeah, there's a lot of chat that could be had on a lot of those premieres. It might be possible, that might be a good Saturday stream idea from time to time if I have a really popular video, and then we'll just react to the video that I did. And we can have a longer discussion about it. That might be a good stream to, okay, we want to have a longer discussion about this video. Let's talk about it. So that's kind of where I'm at with this streaming thing. I've taken to the stress of it a lot better. I've gotten used to it where it seems more normal to me. So my autistic self isn't running away in rebellion. So it's gotten that, but yeah, I want to get back to Eric's thing here. Because this is my bag is biblical studies. Yes, I always felt that this passage was problematic for the Jesus as the Messiah narrative, because the Messiah was clearly somebody that was the military conqueror that the Jews were waiting for at that time was more correct than what Jesus turned out to be. So. Yes. Geez, Lyric, what are you, man? Part of my goal for this channel is not just, the channel, it's a community too. I'm very much listening to the community of what it says it wants me to do. I like what you like. I want, if you don't like what I'm doing, you're not going to listen. So, yeah, none of you are normal. None of you are normal. But yeah, I do respond to a lot of batshit crazy stuff. This stream is particularly notorious, though it's only happened once so far, of getting like these dudes that just come in here and act like an asshole every time. So, but yeah, it's Yeah. Yeah. Normal is for suckers. Yeah. Okay. Classic Dutch play. Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Normal is for bad, but we have a lot of people here that just do what they want to do. No, it doesn't play nice with Revelation either, Eric. It That's the problem with a lot of prophetic stuff. When you try to compare the Old Testament prophecy with Revelation, it really gets really sticky. One of my great problems when I was a preacher was trying to reconcile a lot of this stuff. So, yeah, there's that. Um, hey, Wolf, good to see you. So, all right, yeah. Hey, good to see you, Katie. Yeah, normal is a setting on a dryer. That's what my mom used to always say. It's just a setting on a dryer. so, uh, so there's that. Yeah, it's. I don't know what normal is. I don't think any human being. I mean, genetically speaking, it's not really possible for two human beings to be exactly alike, and the environment changes it too. Hey, Evan. Okay, well there you go. I mean, if you're doing good in the world, I'll accept any people being late. I accept people being fashionably late too. I Killed Earl is often fashionably late, and I let it go. So, so, but yeah, so yeah, the whole Ezekiel 37 and Revelation and all that stuff. When I was a preacher and a Bible, studying the Bible pretty regularly, it was really a problem for me because prophecy is so weird at times and it has all this imagery and all this symbolism and all this other stuff, and it's designed to be deliberately vague. Um, so there's that. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're in Ohio, huh? I'm in Michigan. It's freezing. Okay, what's the temp? It's the middle. It's coming to the end of the day when the sun's going down. It's 8 degrees. It was -12 when I drove home from work this morning. So it's it's absolutely frigid for this time. But having lived in North Dakota for 4 years when I was going to Bible college, I got a new definition of cold for you. So yes, they don't fit anybody. There's You have to really have adjustable seats in anything. People just don't fit. Oh, Larry. Yeah. Also, there's also the feels like somebody was talking about that at work yesterday night when I got to work, that it was like 1 degree, but it felt like -10. So, um, but I have a story where I survived a situation in North Dakota where I was driving back to Bible college from home on Christmas, and we hit the North Dakota border, and it was -80 normal. We saw that on a bank clock when we drove through a town, and I didn't realize bank clocks went that low, for the temperature. And the wind was blowing out of the north, so it was crosswinding me, but thankfully not hitting me right in the radiator. But it was like they reported that it was like one of the lowest temperatures ever in North Dakota, and that's saying something. So I've had the experience of dealing with extreme cold before. Um, there isn't really a lot. I mean, here's the physical proof of most Bible stories. They'll say, well, that town exists. Well, yeah, but, other, I can write historical fiction and have existing towns in it. That doesn't prove anything. You can write historical fiction and have real people that existed that were historical figures in your fiction. Doesn't mean the rest of the story is true. But there's very little proof, physical proof of Bible stories. My apologist professor used to say, every time an archaeological spade goes in, another biblical critic dies, but actually the opposite is true. Every time the spade goes in the ground in the Holy Land, it seems like another Bible story dies. I mean, we know for a fact now there's no evidence for Moses or the Exodus or even the conquest of Joshua, none. And so, yeah, it was one of my frustrations and what led to my deconversion when, Apologia just did a video about Joshua. It's a really good one, by the way. I watched it before I came on, but he simply points out there just isn't any evidence for it. But if you start looking through the Bible stories, there just isn't a lot of physical evidence for anything. Okay, miracles are probably the worst. So they just don't have anything. They're just stored. Yeah, it was cold. It was cold. Let me put it to you this way. I had to walk to school. I was walking to Bible college at the time. And from my apartment building, it's like 2 blocks. Okay. And some days it was so cold. I'm literally only walking like 500 yards, and I would get to school and I'd literally have to stand by the radiator for 10 minutes to warm up. That's how cold it gets in North Dakota. So they did try to spend a lot of money, and they've come to the conclusion that perhaps they were in error. That's really Judaism is taking a lot more nasty knocks about that than Christianity is. So, yes, cold is a terrible thing. Yeah, my problem is the exact opposite, Eric, because I am hypersensitive to heat and light, and so I hate summer. Winter, I don't necessarily love, but give me spring and fall, particularly fall. I could live in fall 365. Perfect weather for me. Still trying to repress the memories. Yes. Yeah, there's proof that Egypt existed and the pyramids were there. Um, yeah, but it's the proof for the Exodus is zero. Um, and it's not like Egyptology is like still has open ends. Like it is one of the most studied countries from an archaeological point of view there is. And yeah, still no Israelites numbering in the 2 millions. Okay, living in the land of Goshen. So yeah, I don't mind the snow and ice after it. It's okay, but yeah, I mean, I've always loved the winter until I've gotten older. It's now more of a joint thing for me. So yes, yeah. We used to joke when we were at school that you had to start a fire in the middle of the parking lot in order to keep warm while you're walking across it. So, so, um, so there's that. Yeah, 40 years of manna, there would be something. I mean, 40 years of wilderness wandering by 2 million people in the Sinai Peninsula would have left some stuff behind, and they found nothing. So it's very likely that the Israelites developed like any other tribe in the region, and the people writing all these stories are writing like 600 years later, and they didn't know any of this crap. I think Apologia's video made mention, the scholar makes the mention of the fact that they're writing many years afterwards, and so they didn't know that Egypt controlled the Levant at the time that they wanted the Exodus to take place. So they didn't know that, and so they're writing. Basically, what we have is we know the first 5 books of Moses, quote unquote, and Joshua are mythology. Like they are pretty much mythology. They're a made up story. So, and then after that, it gets really dicey. So yeah, I mean, you could do the same thing, except ghosts, of course. Yeah, it's the ghost part of the story that's kind of missing, isn't it? That's the supernatural claim. So, but yeah, I mean, it's when you write like realistic fiction, you're writing what the Bible is. It's realistic fiction. Okay. It's definitely the attitudes and the cultures of the time are definitely reflected, probably, but it's like the events, the people, the places. Uh, the guy in Apologia's video said it, and I'll echo it too. What I discovered, probably what happened with like Jericho, they came along, all the walls were ruined. Well, how did these walls fall down? They couldn't think of the fact that maybe those walls were like 300-400 years old and it just crumbled. No, we can't do that. Some supernatural event had destroyed them. So it's like, oh, yeah, me too. I was 9, so I remember that. Yeah, ND is great. It's flat. I funniest conversation I was ever involved in North Dakota. I went to the barber to get my hair cut, and these old timers that have been in North Dakota all their lives, they're like, oh, I don't know why you people would want trees. It just upsets the view. And I'm like, the view of what? And they laughed. They laughed a bit. So, oh, yeah, really? Yeah, I know. I mean, if you could find Troy, right? Okay, but that doesn't prove the events of the Iliad. It just proves that Troy existed. And let's be honest, the existence of a town or a person is kind of a mundane claim that's kind of easy to prove. It's when you try to prove, like, 400 years of manna or crossing the Red Sea, or in the case of the Iliad, that Ares and Athena and all the other gods were fighting over shit. That gets to be a little bit more. So, you know, yeah, it's intolerable. I agree. Yeah, it is. I don't see, the thing is, I don't think the biblical writers were like trying to be deliberately deceptive. They believe that shit. Okay. They genuinely believe that this was the history of their people. Okay. And they probably got it through oral tradition or written down accounts that other people did. And it's like everybody's passing things along hearsay fashion. It's not, I don't think, the biblical writers are necessarily deceived or trying to be deceptive. They believe something and they wrote down what they knew. And the problem is, when you really think about it, they really didn't know anything. And I think, when I look at the Old Testament now, it takes me a while to where I think that you're starting to get to historical stuff. Like, I think the whole Nehemiah Ezra has a higher probability of being real because it was closer to the original writers than the rest of it. So, but the farther back in time you go, from like 600 BC, um, yeah, it gets more and more fuzzy. Okay. They were writing about what they knew and what their oral traditions of their people were, and they just put all that together. So they were they were all about, preserving the history of what they thought the history of their people was. But as we discover when we actually do real research, a lot of these histories of all these ancient peoples, the farther back you get in time, the more embellishment there is. It's like every hero of a people gets embellished and becomes more and more what they're not. Okay. Like, I personally think, like, I'm a fan of Odin, but was there a real guy named Odin back in the day who did a few things, and then all of a sudden everybody embellishes the story to the point he becomes a god? Like, that's kind of what we humans do. We keep, the next time we tell the story, we got to add something. And that's exactly what happens in the Old Testament. We keep telling the story long enough, and you keep adding stuff. Growing legends happen all the time. And so, yeah, it's this, Eric had the question about Ezekiel. It's like these prophets, are even worse than the histories, because it's like, where did this shit come from? Okay, where does it come from? And there's no good answers with the prophets. Okay, so yes, yeah, the age old New York City is real, so Spider-Man is real. What actually Hitchens said was that it was our first and worst attempt to understand the world around us. Okay, and really what it is we're asking questions and coming up with possible answers, and those developed into religions. So when you believe in magic, you can make a story do anything. Okay, so I've written like fantasy and urban fantasy for fun, and the one thing you learn pretty quickly is magic can solve a lot of problems. So, you want a Lego Death Star though? Okay, that's fair. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I could have. Um, there's still some legendary stuff that creeps into George Washington. Like he prayed at Valley Forge. There's no evidence for that. That's a painting somebody did many years later. And some guy put it into his story to sell his books. And, this is how this shit happens. Actually, George Washington is a good example of what I would call early legendary development about a person, like the cherry tree and praying at Valley Forge and him being a devout believer and Christian that prayed every day. That's a load of shit. Um, it just doesn't happen. So there was that. So that's 500% of how it works. Yeah, but I couldn't or wouldn't. Yeah, and that's the thing, Katie. There are some of us that got into this stuff and are kind of envious, but at the same time, I'm more vocal against it because of what I've been through. So there's that. So, um, help with the devil. Oh, we're going to bring up striper covers now. So, god damn. I used to be so into them when I was a teenage Christian. My kind of metal, I guess. At the time, I changed. So, yeah. Yeah. The thing about it is, if you study ancient Israel at this time period, there's a lot of tribes, and we know the archaeology well enough to know this. The Israelites were like the last tribe to kind of move into the area. And so this move across the Jordan into Israel is kind of based on fact, but they completely embellished the story of how that worked. Okay. I mean, the story of like Joshua crossing the Jordan, there's these, one of my old pastors has a thing about the 12 stones that they gathered and put at the bottom of the Jordan, and then piled up next to what meaneth these stones. And it's like, well, where's that pile of stones? Okay, well, it's probably been knocked down by now. So, so it's not really all that good proof. But yeah, they were kind of a Johnny come lately. And I remember a scholar saying they seem to be a little bit insecure about that. And it kind of reflects in their God being a little bit insecure. Yahweh is kind of insecure about his power all the time and has to go whoop on people. And we had the commenter the other day. Oh gosh, was it Saturday or Thursday? Last Thursday, but it was I think it was Saturday, that got offended when I said that Yahweh acknowledges the existence of other gods. And he does that in the Ten Commandments, for crying out loud. You shall have no other gods before me. And the guy's trying, well, it's false gods. It's like, it doesn't say false. Okay. Throughout this, you have this idea that every tribe has their god and they're all fighting with each other to see who's in charge. So you have this council of gods, and who's in charge is determined by battle. So it leads to a lot of bullshit. So I don't remember that part, but yes, I'll have to look that up again. George Magic. Yeah, me too. I feel you, Ronald. It took me a long time, and people ask me what kept me in. It's the emotional attachment to certain ideas, like wanting to see my dad again after he died. I've lost a lot of friends over the years, and so there's a natural desire to see them again. And I think religion plays into all that, the wishful thinking and the stuff. And so there's a lot of emotional attachment. And when you pull away from it, yeah, that leaves a lot of scars. There's a lot of empty spots too that used to fill with your religion that you have to fill with something else. Okay. Or you have to say that's just not important anymore. So if you're looking for a person that's going to be, show a little empathy towards you, yeah, you found the right place. Because 40 years as a Christian, 20 years as a pastor, 30 years as a preacher, I've done a lot of it. And to pull away from that was kind of a rough go for me too. And I'm still healing as well. So, um, yeah, I mean, the story pumps it up by saying it's at flood stage. So it was a little bit more challenging than that. Yeah, but it's not as impressive as the Red Sea that Moses did. So, ooh, yeah, a lot of us experience that. It's funny, intellectually you can dismiss the doctrine of hell real quick, but emotionally, every time you hear about it, it's still there. It's still like an emotional thing. And that's why indoctrination is more emotionally based. It's what keeps you in the faith is your emotions. It's not intellect. I can tell you that. Yeah, yeah. We're better at stabbing. Yeah, because really, when you read the Old Testament, that's what Yahweh's thing is. I've whooped all these other gods, and my people have whooped all these other people. That's what makes us right. Okay, it's not a good standard for morals and ethics to say might makes right, but that's kind of what it is. Yeah, that's kind of how it's like. Last all week, and decent. Everything goes worse. Walking and found 2 days. Okay. Yep. I hear you. I hear you. It feels like that a lot, doesn't it? So yeah, Lyric has dealt with that struggle. I mean, Ronald, you're in the right place, my friend. There's a lot of people that foster my channel, and it's because of this. I focus on deconversion. I had a comment this week about and it was on my latest video where the guy is like, I think a lot of atheists are kind of over these deconversion Bible studies. I said, yeah, after a while, I find them old myself, but I realize very much that people are still kind of deconstructing the mythology part of the Bible. They're getting over the whole, this is the inspired word of God. And so showing the real human origins of the Bible is helpful to them. And everybody's at a different place in their deconversion too. Like I've got, there's a guy that hangs around here, comes by streams every once in a while. He's going through it right now, and he's still struggling with, okay, I've dumped my Christianity, but what about the existence of God? What about a deist point of view? And so he's wrestling with that right now. I did too, so I'm very sympathetic. So um, yeah. So yeah. Two most painful things to let go of. Oh, I'm assuming you want a warning. Um, I miss having a group of people to go to every week and just laugh and share because as much as the religion sucked, the people didn't always suck. Okay. The humans inside the church aren't bad people. Okay. They're just deluded, in my opinion now. Um, and so letting a go of a lot of those friendships and relationships. I mean, I think I've told the story before, like as a pastor, I maintained my Facebook page and I had like 350 friends, on Facebook, people I knew and cared for. When I told everybody I was leaving the church and not going back to being a pastor and that I was leaving the faith, that number dropped by 200. Like 200 people just ditched me. Okay. And it was the realization that some of those friendships were superficial, but I do miss going to a place, where I can hang out with people and hug their necks and, laugh about life and the universe. But, other people don't have that background. Like their church situation was very toxic and very controlling. So that's not something they necessary. The other thing I think long term, was realizing that my marriage was based on the fact that we were both believers. And once that disappeared, the foundation of what we were a couple about disappeared as well. And we spent 3 years trying to figure out what that foundation would be. and couldn't do it. And eventually I said, if we're not going to deal with our issues as a marriage and go to counseling, then I'm out. So, um, yeah, like, some religious trauma can be there. So there's that. Tenacious Art Girl. Yeah. I think that's probably he was referencing the criteria of embarrassment. Like he wouldn't write a story about himself like that. But there's actually no proof that Mark wrote that either. In fact, the best evidence puts it at 70 AD, which would have probably made John Mark dead. So I don't know. See, pastors, you got to understand, pastors are going to say whatever they need to say to keep their job going. It's one of the things that I can tell you, is not so much a secret to me. And I relate this a lot to everybody. It's like pastors are very much concerned about their jobs. Most of them are in small churches of 20 to 50 people. They're trying to placate 2 or 3 of them that are the biggest donors every week. And it's a vicious cycle. Okay. And so they're going to say whatever they think they're going to say to uphold the faith because it keeps them employed. So, and trust me, that's in the back of almost every pastor's mind, except the ones that have lots and lots of money. So, yeah, that's all. It's always good when somebody else like comes out first as a non-believer for various reasons. But yeah, the idea of fixing a person who's gay is very much a part of the church. What a horrible idea. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, it's that is what leads to it. I get the accusation all the time, and if you're an atheist or you're deconverting, you get this all the time. The reason you're leaving the faith is because something emotionally bad happened to you, and that's just not. That's an old trope. It's not true. What usually happens is something like this happens, Eric, and then you start looking at the Bible about it, and you realize, no, wait a minute, okay, this Bible is full of shit. So that's kind of that's what ends up happening. Kind of. Um, I don't know. See, what Christians don't realize is if they were going to do a true crucifix, a true crucifixion cross, they got to drop the loincloth because nobody was crucified with clothes on. Okay. And of course, we can't do that because that offends our Christian sensibilities. So we put the loincloth on. But if you were to do a true picture of the crucifixion based on what we know about crucifixion, yeah, all 3 guys would be naked. So, and they just don't do that. So, but yeah, nudity, I don't know. I don't think the ancient world has as much hangups about nudity as we do. So, thanks to our Puritan past. So, there's that. Oh, yeah, and yet people keep telling me it does a lot of good. I've got a video. My next video on the docket is 5 reasons why I can't go back, and one of those reasons, I'll let you have a little bit of a preview of this one. It'll probably come out Friday. It'll probably drop in, but it's the absolute cage that religion puts your mind in. Okay, and this is reflective of that. Okay, trying to find a way out of that problem because you've had your thinking like focused on because of your religion, and then all of a sudden you're free to see other things. It's like, yeah, I can't unsee what I've seen then. So there's I think it does. It attracts the religion. It definitely attacks the religious power base. So there's that. Paul is right about one thing. He's right that if there is no resurrection, they're all of men most miserable, and he knew that everything depended on that. Yes, your family's love is conditional. I don't believe in unconditional love anyway, but when it comes to Christian love, it's really weird because they're very loving until you're no longer of the faith. I mean, when I left my last church, it was very unceremonious. There was other things going on, and maybe I deserved some of that, but still, it was like very few people reached out to me after that and expressed their love and concern for me. So, yeah. Yeah, once you figure out that there's a lot of bullying inside the church, that religion is used to bully, yeah, yeah, it, it's it's easy to leave. Uh, there's always what I call an antagonist in the church, somebody who's in charge, who's really in charge, and uses the religion and their position to bully people around. So that's pretty true in every church. Somebody is there's a real person in charge, and they're using their power to do whatever they want. So, uh, uh, insert Metallica's King Nothing here. So he's not king of anything. I don't need that anymore. I don't need that anymore. Um, you represent about the probably a thousandth person that's come to my channel and said that Jesus loves me. And after 40 years of being a Christian and saying that, I now know what kind of BS that is. So I'm not trying to be offensive, just telling you what I think about it. So there's that. Oh, they all ran around with fig fleas, right? Yeah. See, I've always asked the question: if you were going to do the Bible for real as a movie, like if there was no restrictions on your time and you could do all the scenes as supposedly are presented or happened, how far would it take before you got an R rating? What rating would the thing ultimately get? Okay. Um, in the United States, we have a rating system, and it's like you can't get past chapter 2 without getting an R rating for nudity. It would, you know, full frontal, all that stuff. You'd be done. So the Bible is an R-rated book with X-rated parts. So it's that kind of thing. Yes, this is the problem of Puritanism. That if something happens that makes a person happy, there must be something wrong with it. Um, that's a cultic control mechanism, by the way, is to control when people are allowed to be happy. Um, no, you can't. I always get that doesn't even make sense. Okay. uh, yeah, it's nudity is always I did when I did my blog. I actually did this in a response to a question that I got from a parishioner. I'll give you the situation. I had a parishioner who had a daughter in college, and they were going to go to Jamaica or somewhere, Brazil or something, and all of her friends were going to go to the beach and go topless, and wanted her to join. And she was like, "Okay, I'll do that." And her father is coming to me and asking me, "What verse of scripture do I tell her that she can't do this?" And so I started doing a biblical study on nudity in the Bible and discovered something. God never really says nudity is bad. Okay, he never really does. Um, in fact, we have to wear clothes because we did a bad thing. Okay, and I remember reading Robert Heinlein saying something similar. He says, like, if the curse is really reversed, then Christians should be walking around naked. But so but that was an interesting view on it. And I studied the Bible extensively on that, and I couldn't find anything that's. I finally had to tell the guy, I says, there is no verse of scripture that you can tell your daughter that she shouldn't do that. So, so yeah, good dog. Yeah, you might get some unconditional love, but even the dog expects you to feed him and water him and treat him nice. So that's that. Yeah, there was a lot of personal things involved there too. I didn't exactly leave because I lost the faith. I left for other reasons. Like I think I told in my deconversion, I was involved in an affair, an emotional affair with a woman at the time, and she was part of the church. And you know, what I didn't know at the time is that my autistic nervous system had been overwhelmed, and I was looking for comfort somewhere. And my normal sense of judgment goes away when that happens. It's why I monitor and maintain a lot of my stuff for my hypersensitivity and autism to make sure that doesn't happen again. But when you get your nervous system gets overwhelmed, you'll sometimes accept things. Your judgment begins to go away. So, but after that happened, yeah, a few of them reached out to me and said they loved me and that they believed my side of the story and things like that. And I had an antagonist in the church that took advantage of that. So, and solidified his power until he had a stroke. So, um, yeah, they have to use translations. Yeah, yeah. I Killed Earl would know though. Atomic Punk. She would know. She lives there. Yeah, the Bible's NC-17 for sure. Yeah, you can't get past chapter 2 without that being the case um, of Genesis. But yes, hello, Earl. Good to see you. Fashionably late as always. We were talking about that earlier. Um, yeah, it's more about violence these days, and I've never understood like the rating system sometimes because to me nudity is kind of much more benign an action than chopping off somebody's head. Okay, I'd rather ban the chopping off people's heads from kids than the nudity. Because I don't know. I mean, kids get exposed to nudity every time they take a shower, so it's like I don't know. It gets really weird when you talk about the subject, but it's like holy shit. It's like we're going to give this a mature rating because of the nudity in it, but the violence might only get you a slightly lower rating. So there's that. Yeah, I've still been part of that campaign for quite a while. So it's one of the few physical examples of sexism still in the United States. So there's a lot more, I suppose, but to me, it's one of the most obvious. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I've read the studies on video game players because I am a gamer, and it turns out that gamers are actually more peaceful than people that don't game. They get it out. A lot of them get it out of their system. Every once in a while, you'll see an exception to that, but gamers are just interested in gaming. So yeah, yeah, I that's true, but autism just makes it worse. Okay, and hypersensitivity makes it worse. So, but I was dealing with a lot of grief at the time, and nobody gave a shit about me because I'm the pastor. That's one of the things that pastors find themselves in an interesting position because you're always the caregiver, and nobody ever gives care to you, and that can be a very dangerous psychological position, especially if it gets overwhelming. So, but I lost a couple of good friends in the church very quickly, one right after the other. I was dealing with the grief of that. My marriage was kind of shit because my ex was always gone, never there to talk to about it. So yeah, it became a problem. Oh, yeah, Michael might not like that one. Maybe he will. I don't know. So there's that. Oh, KJ, only do Amish have their own version of Latin Mass. you know, I'm waiting for the schism in the KJV. Well, whether we go with the 1611 version of the KJV or what is it, the 1725 version, because the KJV has been revised once and twice when they did the new KJV. So I'm wondering when that schism is going to take place. We got to get back to the 1611 version. So there's that. Oh man. Oh, well, there you go. Yes, it's rude. It is rude. I mean, they either have to do that or they have to go the other way and tell men that they have to cover up too in order to be fair. But it's still one of those things where women can get arrested for indecency, and it's like I've seen guys with bigger ones, all out. So I don't know. It's always about the nipple. I never can figure that out. Hey, Honk Strickers, welcome. Yeah, so uh, yeah, it's the thing about the KJV people. I used to run into this as a pastor all the time. It's like, and I knew enough about the Greek, having taken 2 years of Greek in Bible college, to know that even if I was being the most strict translationist, there are certain words in Greek that have, even in context, is going to be difficult. Okay. It was like there's different words that could be used. And it's like once you take Greek and you get past that, the KJV stuff either usually looks really silly, but yeah, but it was revised in 1725 to remove the archaic language of 1611. There's an irony for the KJV people only for it. Yeah, the problem is with the 1611 version. I've read it. It's hard to read. It's even harder to read than the current one, the 1725 version, because it still like has double S's that sound like F, and so there's that. Yes, appreciate somebody saying hit the like button. I also have a goal, just to reiterate to some of you that were late. My Saturday streams are kind of conditional on making some financial goals. So I need like 5 super chats or something to keep that going. I love the Saturday stream, but I got to do some videos too. So um, yeah, but yeah, you're on the beach. You have fair warning. So I've heard that joke before, Katie. Let's put a nipple on it. Yeah, yeah. So but yeah, it's it's one of those issues that I came to terms with while I was a Christian. I don't know if it's so much a deconversion issue, but it's the issue of what Christians think is in the Bible versus what actually is. Okay, like I did a 27. I like went through the Bible, studied every part where somebody was nude or women's breasts were mentioned or whatever, and discovered something. The Bible doesn't have anything negative to say about it. Okay, nothing. Um, it 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 was just really weird. It was a weird revelation as a Christian because you got to cover up, and you got to be modest, and you got to be this, and it's like, and even Peter's statement, he's more concerned not with what they wear or don't wear. He basically says, it's more important for women to have like this quiet, meek spirit bullshit, that he's not even really focused on the clothing either. So it was just really one of those weird revelations where you study something in the Bible and you suddenly realize that the people, Christians, have this view of it that isn't even biblical. Okay. And so I always found that was interesting. So yeah, Fred already has, though. I got his. It may be just a dollar amount too. If I get a certain dollar amount from midweek chats, then the streams, then I'll do the Saturday stream. But I gotta monitor my time and how valuable I think it is. So, oh, thank you, Earl. Appreciate you. Yes, yes, you did. I like you. I am a fan of boobs. So, um, thanks, Evan. You know what? I'm going to count that towards the goal. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that so much. Um, you know, I'm trying to build my brand. Um, again, I had a rough winter, to be honest, and a rough fall. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm a fan. So of all that, and I appreciate new members. I appreciate that. You know, I like watching the membership roster. That's, you know, people that have decided to become a member. Gifted memberships are great. I won't turn them down, but they have a tendency to come and go. And I know people that get them appreciate them, though, because I've had those comments. So if you give gifted memberships, they are appreciated by the people that get them. So, all right. So there's that. So oh, yes. Yes. There you go. Yes, I remember. Yeah, oh gosh, he has a lot of good stuff. So, but yeah, so yeah, that's just kind of, oh, oh, thank you. Uh, thank you. Appreciate that. Any little bit helps. I'm trying to remind myself of my goals for this channel. I do want to make people think. That may be my primary goal, but I want to be somewhat entertaining so you don't run away. And I also, you know, I also have to make money to continue to justify my time usage. So it's like people ask me how much time I spend on this. I don't know, probably somewhere in between 12 and 20 hours a week on YouTubing something. Especially when especially when I also, when I'm really producing video content, that's particularly true. So, but I thank all of you tonight for your financial support. I appreciate that so much. But yeah, I'm going to kind of monitor this week, and if I get to a certain point, we'll do a Saturday stream. I don't think it'll be a problem given the people I have here. I'm just letting everybody know the need is there, and so anything you do is absolutely helpful. So yeah, there's a lot more. I get more money here than gaming. That's true, John. That's true. Gaming seems to swallow my money. It's like all hobbies. It's just like it just takes your money. Uh, I just launched another poll, Earl, today, I think, or was it today? Yeah, today or yesterday. That has the four top ones of the other two polls, and so that's running right now. And I'll probably look at the results of that on Thursday for sure. So the latest poll is out, and the four top images are in there. Um, we seem to have, let's see, it's the Bugs Bunny with fangs and red eyes. That one made it. One of your logo bunnies kind of made it. What I used to call them the horror bunnies made it. And then the two ones that look like an R with sort of an A at the bottom bunnies, but there's a difference of opinion of whether there should be a fang on that bunny or not. So those are the four that made it. So um, side by side, RA didn't seem to do as well. So this time around. So I've got a lot of polls on this, so I can kind of look at all the data and figure out what to do next. So yeah, a lot of people like the Fang, but a lot more people don't. So, and somebody mentioned something. You are a compassionate anti-theist after all. It might be helpful not to look threatening at first. So, uh, probably a valid point. So there's that. But yeah, I'm enjoying this part. My whole goal is by the time my birthday rolls around next month, I want to have this channel to have a little bit different vibe. Slowly, surely, uh, not like all at once. Subtle changes that'll make this channel be a little bit more friendly, and at the same time have more of a good feel of it, and does more for its users. And part of my thing with going to Earl for images is also Merc. Can we put some of this stuff on Merc? So that'll be that. Ain't that the truth? Spend half my life trying to make money, then spend the remaining time spending that money on things I don't have time to use. Yes. Um, Man, I think it's why I have a lot of hobbies, that I would have if I had the time. Um, you have to be around when somebody, gives a gifted membership lyric. So you kind of just have to hang around, and they're the ones I think that give it to you. So you have to beg. Okay. So yes, you know, I, yes, definitely a stroke of genius. It was definitely a genius moment. So killer bunnies for sure. Okay. Yeah. And, bunnies are actually kind of popular with some atheists I have found. There's one atheist that I think still uses a picture of a bunny as his moniker, and has since like he started his channel, I think. So, yeah, my settings are open for that. I've had people give them before. So, um, so it's all monetization options are open. The only thing I'm not doing on streaming anymore is ads. Um, I'm going to make that concession to all of you and just not have ads on streams anymore. They don't make me enough money to justify it, the interruptions. And I'd rather have a good, solid conversation. So if people make up for that with donations, then not a problem. So probably because we're all fans of Monty Python. The bunny isn't as harmless as it looks. So it also might be like I've always found that like Playboy's bunny symbol was always rather interesting. I always thought that that was an interesting symbol for him. Um, I see a lot of women with that as a tattoo. Yes, we have sharp, pointy teeth. We're the rabbit with sharp, pointy teeth and red eyes. The one you shouldn't think is all that cute, but you do. Anyway, we're cute and cuddly and fuzzy to our friends. So, yeah. Uh, yeah, the ad revenue for the videos works a lot better because I think people, because if you're a member of YouTube, I get that money too. So if you have you've paid not to have ads, I still get some of that too. So yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I remember so much Watership Down when it came out on TV because it was billed as this children's movie. I'm like, this is not a fucking children's movie. so, so it's not. I've read the book. It's not a children's book either. So yeah, you're not alone. Like Aaron Ra has pet snakes. It's like snakes and bunnies. And I don't know what it is. So yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think the book is very compelling, and the animated film was very compelling too. But man, it's like every time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a story about bunnies, and it's like, no, there's some really good themes in that, like overpopulation and the cruelty of leadership, and there's just so much stuff in it. It's really good stuff as a story, but I wouldn't put it on when children could watch it. So, because there's a lot of stuff in there. Oh, thank you. Late night Kaju. Okay. Late night Kaju. Thank you for becoming a member. You became a YouTube member? Okay, good. That's good. Oh. Yeah, very scary. And definitely making a statement about the times as well. So, okay, there you go. Yeah, see, it's a very compelling book. I mean, when you read it, it's very, very compelling. But yeah, but when they made an animated special on it and they're billing it for children, I'm like, oh no. Okay, oh no. I know better than that, and I'm a kid. So, yeah, that's true. That's true. Art. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, this man, it's just that's just an emotionally driven book. It makes so many good points though. Um, it's really something to talk about. Really? Sweden has slugs that are that bad? Holy crap. They have fangs too? Yeah. Oh man. Oh, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the information on rabbits. Oh, oh my goodness. Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, but great guys. Appreciate that. Um, yeah. Yeah, I always noticed that the Brits seemed to be a little bit, when I was a kid and stuff, they were much more open to a lot of things than the United States still had a lot of censorship laws in the 70s and 80s, and they started to go south real quick. And slowly but surely they've kind of gotten over it. But yes, everybody bowing down to their benevolent dictator, the rabbit. Oh man. Oh, I am the rabid atheist or the rabid atheist, depending on where your closed captioning goes. So that's kind of what got this whole joke started. Is somebody noticed that um, when I say rabid atheist, closed captioning translates it rabbit all the time. So it's probably my lack of enunciation that has led to this rabbit thing. So but yeah, I said, you know what, the hell with it. We're just gonna roll with it. So I'm not gonna fight it. I could fight it and be super offended and that, but yeah, hell with that. I'm just not into being offended anymore. Yeah, I probably get the Dutch sense of humor from my grandmother. She was full Dutch, so her parents came over on the boat, and she was the youngest of like 12 kids or something, and so there's that. So there's that. That aspect of it is probably part of me. And then my grandfather on that same my mother's side is like this Welshman with that dry English humor that he always used to have. Yes, and religion makes us happy mad. Rabbi Atheist. I've had that done too before, Crank Your Elder God. It's happened. Oh, thank you very much, Jova. You've been a long time supporter of the channel, and I do thank you for that. I appreciate it. So, all hail the rabbit. Okay, see, this is what happens. just give the chat a small idea and just let them go, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So, thanks, Azo. I think I'm a typo. Yeah, rabbit season. Yep. Yeah, see, there it goes. Duck season. Yeah, there are rabbi atheists, former rabbis, I guess. Yeah, I'm good for Saturday now. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I'll still probably put a goal on the deconverters one. I'm going to start putting goals on all of them just so people are reminded. You know, as much as I love hanging out, you know, I need to eat. Okay, I need the side hustle money. So I need to eat. There's stuff that needs to be done, and I'd like to invest some more into the channel too. So there's that. So I'll see you all Saturday then. We've reached the goal, so we're there. So outstanding. Thank you very much. Yes, it's amazing the weeds that we wander off into, isn't it? So the same with wine. I see a lot of reform and humanist rabbis see it as all allegorical. So there's that. Yes, I do need to eat. My gosh, Lyric, you've asked this several times. I love you, Lyric. You're always there with that kind of humor that I enjoy. So, so there's that. So we've made it. So thanks everybody. I appreciate the support. Um, you know, not discouraging more, but just thanks for reaching the goal. Appreciate that very much. Let's see, any other questions before I take off because I do have to run here shortly. With the rabbi sneaking off to golf on the God punishes with a hole in one on a par five because who's he going to tell? Yeah, that would be valid. Drink your soup, eat your soup. Yeah. What is the meaning of life? I don't know. I unseriously, I don't sure that it's a question that I ask much anymore, to be honest. Um, I don't think it has any ultimate meaning, and whatever meaning you get out of it is probably something you're going to give it. And I also can, because Evan beat me to it, I could also give the answer the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy gives 42. Once you figure out the question, you'll know what the answer means. So, and unfortunately, the computer that was figuring out the question was destroyed to make way for a hyperspace bypass. So, yes, it is a 70s movie. You can put stew on a plate. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, 42 sounds good. I'm good with the answer. Yeah, I have to head off to work. It's that we're switching in between Valentine's Day and Easter, and that's when my job gets interesting because I have to change everything in the store. That's my job. I joke with people like, "What do you do at Walmart?" And I'm like, "Well, when you know where everything is and you can find stuff that you use regularly, and you just walk in and find it without thinking about it. I'm the guy that figures out that that's the case and then changes it so you can't find it anymore. That's my job." So that's kind of that. Yeah, 42. Yeah, duh. Yeah, I just don't really. I'm with you, Earl. I just don't really see any meaning to life in that sense. I mean, I know what people are driving at. They want this ultimate meaning, but I think you're better off having the attitude of fashioning your meaning every day, what it means today, um, to be a little bit more serious about it. So, yes, I am the creator of puzzles. I change where things are, and then you go in and, well, that was just right here. Not anymore. It isn't. I moved it. So, yes, it's what you do at Walmart when you're too old to be a checkout girl and you're too young to be a greeter. Yeah, you mod stuff at night where people can't see you. So, yeah, whatever meaning you apply to it. Yeah. We've had this discussion before on these streams of the meaning of life. And it's like somebody always brings up 42. But it's like there is that Douglas Adams was onto something there. He's like, you can make any answer work for that answer, for that question. It's, do you really understand what question you're asking? Is his point. And he does it in his normal bomb heaving satirical way, but it's like, it makes a valid point. That's probably the most used thing I do from him, other than the puddle analogy. That's definitely a basic one too. Yeah, enjoy the short time you have. Um, it's your life. Make the best out of it. What makes you happy. Work on that. Just don't don't hurt anybody else in their search for it. So. Down on nihilism, there's no reason to be happy. There's no reason to be sad either. Yeah, I think most people misunderstand nihilism. It's not so much that life has no meaning. It's more of when you look at ultimate meaning, does the individual human have that? But nihilism definitely acknowledges meaning in the here and now. Like what your life means in the here and now is really what's important. The only time you really have to engage your meaning is the moment you're living at the moment. So that, religion always tries to give you this ultimate spiritual meaning that's pie in the sky, by and by, way up down there, and it's like they never prove it. So I'd rather deal with, okay, how can I live the best today? And so it's kind of one of the things I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can get really nihilistic about it, I guess. Yeah, it's just, I find a lot more joy now that I don't have this, far off view of the future anymore. When I go to my daughter's house and hang out with my grandkids, those are moments that mean a hell of a lot more to me because I don't know when I'm going to get the next one, if I'm going to get the next one. And so I tend to live much more in the moment once you get rid of the long-term goal of having ultimate meaning. I'd rather find meaning in the moment that I'm at. So yeah, definitely lyric. Yeah, it's not going to make you feel better watching you 24/7. It's one of the real creepy aspects about God. Okay, and I tell people that it's creepy. Yeah, I think that's another thing. Don't make it more important than what it really is. One of the things religion really does do is feed your ego, like you're something bigger than what you are. And I'm glad to be rid of that attitude. I also think, though, that I can be important, but part of it is me making myself relevant and making myself important. The reason I do this channel is a lot of that, I guess. So, all right. Well, guys, I do have to run. I have to go to work tonight, and I have a mandatory relax for an hour before I go to work, just to clear my head. So I am going to let you all go. I want to thank everybody for coming by. A reminder, there's a poll about the images. Make sure you vote in that. Also, thanks everybody for the chat tonight, for the super chat, super thanks. We've reached our goal. So there will be a Saturday live stream. I'll be reacting live to some sort of video. And you are all welcome to come there and hang out and have a good time. So we've met that goal. I'll probably still have a goal every live stream just so to remind people. I think it's a good way, a non-invasive way. So there's so it all helps. So thanks you very, very much tonight. It was a great stream. I appreciate everybody's support tonight. It's done me more than just the financial good. It's a lot of emotional things as somebody who's constantly in self-doubt. So thank you very, very much. Oh, no problem. So there's that. But thanks everybody for stopping by. Appreciate all of you. Like the video, do the things that you do, or else allegedly, as Earl says. So thank you very much for coming by. Do all the things, share the stream, do the things that you do, recommend it to your friends. I love doing this stuff now. It's amazing how I've gone from being completely intrepidatious to actually enjoying this to a certain extent. So thank you very much. But do all those things. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. And then, it's over. So you might as well take all your time, money, and opportunities in the now, as we've been discussing, and spend them on yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'd be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time.